Let's ride. Out here today, ladies and gents. About to get everything rolling. We kind of look silly because I have this big old white monitor next to me. And it does look a little silly. There we go. Maybe we could play with the gain a little bit. Turn that down a skosh. I do need to get a Jaced. I need to get a generic lo-fi thingy-mabobber on. You can either accept that or you can get to work. The Martian soundtrack. No. Gulf of America. Who the heck thought that was a good idea? Do I like this? I'm not opposed. Not opposed. Hey, what up, D-Void? I'm gonna be giving away some channel memberships if I am able to. Just a little heads up. I also need to like my own stream. We're in the darkness right now. Son of darkness. Yes, we do. I don't even know. They want us to try out these new features. One of which is called the Q&A. So I asked the question, favorite movie that you've seen in the past year? Favorite movie that you've seen in the past year? Shoot that over here. right, and then I'm going to be recording real quick, just like a little miniature book tour type beat kind of question list. So if you have any other questions along these lines, or any follow-up questions to anything that I say, let me know. All right. Here we go. Bosha, how are we all doing? And welcome on back to the SoTeeko channel. It's your boy SoTeeko, under the guise and wisdom of some of the YouTube channels that I watch and some of the YouTubers that I watch tutorials of. I watch workshops from. A few mentioned the idea of a book tour and how important that book tours are for selling books, for spreading the word about your book, for getting the word out about your story, and bringing eyes to what you've been working on. Obviously, I am a independent. I am a self-publisher. I am writing a glorified fan fiction. Be that as it may, I'm very passionate about this. I know that there's a lot of fans who are interested in this story, a lot of people that are excited for this to come out. It doesn't matter what game that I am playing, what game I am streaming, it doesn't matter what content that I make, I'm always getting questions about the book, when it's coming, what it's about, how does it work? And I've got about 30 questions here that I hope answers enough about the book as possible for you guys, because this is a very fun, very vulnerable position. I write live. I live stream writing, and it's a pretty fun place to be. I'm not gonna lie. Hanging out with you guys, chatting with you guys. And before we get writing today, we are going to kick it off with some questions for a book tour. But this book tour is taking place here on the YouTube channel, so if you go on to enjoy this, drop a like and let me know if you have any other questions in the comment section below. And if you're watching on any other platform, hello from Earth. How are we doing? For those unfamiliar with The Shattered Apprentice, how would you describe the story in a few sentences? That's a great question. In a few sentences, this book grabs the complex and trying upbringing of 3 teenagers, all of which have came from completely different walks of life, and they are trying to traverse pressure, expectations, relationships, all while managing school, work, studies, hobbies, and seeing just how much 3 people can grow together and grow apart. The story's about a family. And sometimes family does not mean blood. Family can be anybody. It's who you identify as home. And this is a story about a house that desperately wants to become a home. What inspired you to write this story, and what was the first spark of the idea? Well, my inspiration for this story was just how much I enjoyed and grew with the character of Luke Skywalker. And when my father passed away, I kind of was able to look deeper into Luke and get a much greater understanding of what he had been going through, about the pressures and the expectations that come with being the son of Skywalker, the expectations of being the last Jedi, and the pressures of having to put all of that on his back and do what he can to preserve the Jedi. Best character in Star Wars, like best bounty hunter. Mine is Boba Fett. What is yours? Best bounty hunter would have to be Boba Fett. Would have to be Boba Fett. I agree with you. Another one that I really like and really enjoy is Bosk. I think Bosk is a great character as well. Welcome on in. Thank you for that question. And what was the spark of the idea? Well, the spark of the idea was playing Knights of the Old Republic. Coming back and playing it. And kind of growing into the character. Because we all have a story to tell. As human beings, as people. And I think it's very important that we tell our stories. And I think that I always wanted to push myself, and I always wanted to see what my limit was. And here we are, almost 2/3 of the way there. Ready to go. Ready to rumble. Sipping on that yellow Gatorade tonight. What themes or messages do you hope readers take away from the book? I would say to follow your dreams, protect your dreams, and trust your dreams. Never do what somebody else wants you to do if you feel uncomfortable, if it's not something that you really want. Don't just do anything for the sake of it. Put your all into everything that you do. Buy into everything that you do. Love what you do. Find what it is that you love. Surround yourself with it. Always, always, always be true to yourself, because it doesn't matter how anyone else looks at you. It doesn't matter how anyone feels about you, what they say about you. There's no such thing as a life that is better than yours, as the poet Jermaine Cole once said. There's no such thing as a life that is better than yours. And you will never be happy until you love yours. So that has been hitting home for me for ages. And I want my characters to, I want everybody to be able to read this book. This isn't a Star Wars book in the slightest. This is just a story, right? This is a story that everyone has somebody in here that they can identify with. Everybody has somebody that they can see themselves within, that they can recognize situations that they've been in and understand the emotions that these characters are going through and really resonate with them. Star Wars has such a vast mythology. How did you approach creating a story that feels fresh while honoring what came before? For me, as a big fan of history, an amateur historian, mythology was very important in the building of this story, because much like a structure, much like a house, you have to build a story from the ground up. And you can really dive into mythology, whether that be Greek, whether that be Aztec, whether that be Norse, whether that be Afro. There is so much mythology that every story is going to have reflections. Every story is going to have similar tendencies, but it is up to the writer to create something fresh and create a fresh perspective upon it. Now, I am borrowing from a mythological story, a Greek mythological story. And the story is something that we can all truly learn from as human beings. What it means to be human being. And I don't think that we've had much in Star Wars that has really showed, like, yes, they're all powerful. Yes, they're all intrinsically talented, but a lot of the major bashes about Star Wars that I hear a lot of times are about the human aspects of these characters. And for that reason, I kind of just doubled down, dove in deep, and that's what I really look forward to. What was the most challenging part of writing this book? Honestly, I think the most challenging bit is the fact that I would love to have a different writing space. Very much so. I would very much so love to have a different writing space. But you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. That's the bulk of it. I wish I could have a different writing space. Since COVID lockdown, it's been very tough. Working throughout lockdown remotely, doing freelance stuff for a while, working from home for a while, kind of just makes it not feel like home anymore and just makes it feel like an office. But again, it's just, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. But like, that being the most challenging part, I feel is not the worst thing in the world, because that is such a first world issue, you know. I know that there are probably people who don't have 4 walls and a roof over their head. And I don't want to come off sounding like I'm complaining about writing from home when the salient word in that sentence is home, you know? But I know it doesn't sound great. Your story has intense action, deep character moments, and philosophical discussions on the Force. How do you balance these elements in your storytelling? I like to think of stories as fights. You're going to be on the offensive. You're going to be on the defensive. There's going to be stalemates. There's going to be rest. And then there's going to be intense fisticuffs action. But if every bit was intense fisticuffs action, then there would be no contrast. And like my wonderful art professor, Mr. Tom Lee, once so dramatically stated, contrast! Everything in art is carried by contrast. For example, in the Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar was the only person on stage that wasn't dressed in all white, all red, or all blue. And as he was standing in the middle of the pseudo flag, while people were dressed in all blue with some white for the stars, some red for the stripes, some white for the stripes, some red, white, etc., he was dressed normally in the middle. Contrast, you know? I think that intense action will stand out amongst deep character moments and philosophical discussions, whilst deep character moments will stand out against intense action and philosophical discussions, just like philosophical discussions will stand out amongst deep character moments and intense action. There's a balance, and that is the art of storytelling. I hope that I did it well. I hope I did great for these characters, but such is life, you know? You can't control everything. You can only control what you're putting into something. And that's it. Was there a particular moment in the writing process where the story took a turn that you didn't expect? Most of it. Most of it. I've had a different story written out a few times. I've had a few drafts written a few times. I've changed the ending multiple times. And I'm very, very happy with the one that we have now. Very happy with the one that we have now. Questions about Nathan Kaiso. Nathan is a new character in the Star Wars universe and is at the heart of this story. What do you think makes him stand out among other Star Wars protagonists such as Luke, Anakin, and Rey? I think the thing that makes Nathan stand out is ultimately he is not a Skywalker. First and foremost, the other three are. He's also not as talented as the other three. Not to say that he's a schmuck or anything like that, but he does not have the natural gifts that they do. He also comes from a better family than they do. There's a multitude of things that make him stand out. I think the most important thing is that he is a dark horse. He is a very hardworking cat that just wants to be happy and have fun. Every hero has defining struggles. What internal challenges shape Nathan's journey? I think just the same challenges that we all go through on the daily, you know. Getting out of bed, that's a challenge. Getting ready for a day, that's a challenge. Showing up to work, you know, having your boots tied up, ready to go, that's a challenge. I think we are just seeing how these day-to-day struggles look like while trying to balance intensive pressures. And sometimes as human beings, it kind of feels like people are wanting others to fail because it makes them then feel better about what they're going through and their challenges, you know? And Nathan is a very, very prime example of a normal person plucked out of the everyday life, giving his all. If you could meet one legendary Jedi from the past, who do you think you would connect with the most? And I think this is About Nathan? Not me? If Nathan could meet one legendary Jedi from the past, who do you think he would connect with the most? I think Qui-Gon Jinn. I think Qui-Gon Jinn because he's very studious, Nathan. He loves to learn. Much like Qui-Gon when he was quite young. Questions about Ben Solo. Nathan and Ben share a complex bond. How would you describe their dynamic at the beginning of the book? I would describe their dynamic at the beginning of the book like when you are at the first day of school and you're sat next to a kid. Maybe you have one or two things in common and bam, you guys are best friends. What was important to you? And I know that everybody can understand that. I know everybody can totally get that. What was important to you in writing Ben Solo at this stage in his life? The important thing for me was the authenticity of it. It was important to capture who he was. It was important to capture who a 10-year-old boy is when he's growing up. And he's not 10 the entire book, but it's important to be authentic and be real with it. And without diving into spoilers, how does their relationship challenge both of them as individuals? Much like any, and we're going to give out some channel memberships real quick. Oh, goodness. Shout out to my boy Jay for getting one of them. That is awesome. We're gonna give away the next 5 at the end of the stream, but we'll continue from here. Why did it go over there? That's so weird. That's awesome though. Congratulations to JP, Jay, Josh, Rob, and Citadel, who I've had a talk with once before. Shout out to him. Without diving into spoilers, I think that their relationship challenges them both to empathize with one another, to see where one another is coming from, and have the understanding of one another. Questions about Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is such an iconic character. How did you approach writing him in this part of his life? This was a tricky one because I'm not at that stage of my life where I quite know what Luke is going through. So I turned to asking my elders, turned to asking my family and friends and mentors kind of how they feel, what their opinions are, what their feelings are on things, and transcribing that to Luke Skywalker, because I do feel like I have a regimented understanding of Luke. I've done countless research. I've listened to every interview from George. I've listened to every audiobook about Luke. I've listened to every lore video from the guys who absolutely know all the stuff. I've read comics, I've scoured Reddit, I've really busted my ass to make sure that I accurately outline Luke Skywalker. What aspects of Luke's character did you want to highlight that aren't often explored? Especially in this stage in his life, I think just remembering that he's a human being. He has wants, he has needs, and he's methodical. He is a learner. He is tirelessly working his ass off. And he's always doing it for other people. He is one of the most selfless people in the entire galaxy. How would you describe Luke's role as a teacher in The Shattered Apprentice? It's quite self-explanatory. He is the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, effectively creating the new Jedi Order from scraps, from literally nothing. And I think that he's trying to balance being, that CEO while also being the main teacher as well. If you had the chance to train under Luke, what's the first thing you would ask him? How do you find peace with all that's gone on? Where do you gather your peace? That's what I would personally ask him, because I can only assume. I can only assume. Can you walk us through questions about writing and creative process? Can you walk us through your writing process? Do you outline heavily or let the story evolve naturally? I do outline. And I do also give some nice room to wiggle, but it's on the line. It's on the straight and narrow. But there's nothing wrong with a detour or a stop for some snacks or something. What was the hardest scene to write in this book and why? A lot of the... I don't want to give too much away, but there is a very tough scene that I had to put myself in a method writing state to do so. And it was very tough. Feeling such heavy emotions, feeling such heavy sadness, and writing it. And having it come out exactly how I was feeling it. And it was intense, very intense. And the next question is, what scene or moment are you most proud of? And it's probably that. Because this book's been very, very, very therapeutic for me. I don't get many anxiety attacks. I don't get any panic attacks anymore. My post-traumatic stress is practically non-existent anymore. It's been very therapeutic, and I feel at such peace. It's so nice, and I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of all of it, because this genuinely came from nothing, and we are 210 pages deep, with the rest of the story mapped out and planned out and ready to rumble. Are there any scenes that drastically changed from the first draft to the final version? Absolutely. I would say 60% is what I had. 40% changed drastically. for the better. Absolutely freaking lutely. What I had was like, oh, and we had a segment, we had a little part on the last writing stream when I was looking at a couple of pages. I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. I'm getting rid of this. This sucks. And I did that a couple of times. I've gotten rid of entire chapters before just because it's sucked. What was the most rewarding part of writing the book? I would say meeting so many cool people, because I've met a lot of really cool people. I'm doing this book for nothing. I am losing money doing this book. I am paying an illustrator. I'll be printing a select few copies and shipping them and everything, and like I am not making money on this book. The most rewarding part is just the process and doing it, because I can hang it on the Louvre. I've written a book, and that's pretty cool. Did you discover anything surprising about yourself or your writing? Oh man, just that I'm capable. If I can do this, I can do anything, was kind of my mindset. If I could do this, I could do anything. That's been my mindset. Fun and personal questions. If you could wield any color lightsaber, what would it be and why? I'm going to be doing a video with my girlfriend, finding out what our lightsaber colors are and our crystals. Stay tuned for that. Which planet would you most love to visit? I would say Ossus, because I've spent so much time writing it. Ossus seems so chill, so relaxing. What scene has been the most fun to write? I'd say the fight scenes, absolutely. I think they are the most fun to write because, again, you just put yourself into the situation. You give yourself time to breathe, time to own and understand and realize who these characters are, what they mean, and what their intentions are. And in fight scenes especially, they're very dramatic. Even though they're so action-packed, they're very dramatic. And they're the most fun. Absolutely, they're the most fun. What up, Shale? And the last question. What is next for you as a writer? Is this the beginning of a larger story? I want to finish this one, and I want you all to enjoy it, and we will go from there. Of course, this is part of a larger story because it's Star Wars at the end of the day, right? But trust me when I say that this will start making things right again. And I'm real hyped for this, real excited for this. So that is the end of the questions. That's the end of the pseudo book tour. We'll have a few more when the book's actually done, of course, and then when we do our launch event, we'll do something special for that as well. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video kind of just making some people aware of the book and giving you guys a little sample, a little something about what it is that I'm doing, so we can generate and garner some interest and stuff. So I hope you did enjoy, 100%. Put her there, put her there. Bink. And we're done recording now. Lovely jubbly. How we doing though? My beautiful people. Oh, we're actually not even on 210. We're on 212. I've been writing a little bit. Just a little bit. What is this? Weekly analytics. No, thank you. I'm not an analytics looker. I think it would just make me sad, honestly. Okay, where are we at? Hmm. W. I always like to see people that actually show up and that I know getting the memberships. Wow, wow. Ugh. Wait. Okay. I actually didn't. I didn't exactly have them. Hello, Banjil. Oops. Hello, Banjil.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright.
Caught me at the perfect time.
Are you naked?
No, but I am just finishing my stream.